Hello everyone, welcome to this webinar. So I let the speakers introduce themselves and we'll discuss the topic of today, so delivering unprecedented value through an HCI infrastructure. So I let you the floor, Yaniv and Alexei.
Cool. Thank you, Christine. Hi, everyone. My name is Yaniv Dida. I'm working for OVH Cloud for 2.5 years right now, and I'm in charge of the infrastructure group, which involve different kind of activities, network, bare metal, so dedicated servers, and storage. And I'm happy to be here today with you and Alexei to discuss about the HCI workloads.
Thanks, Yaniv. And my name is Alexei Nechiarov. I'm with AMD for the last 2 years, doing technical server marketing here in EMEA. And so I mostly work with our engineering and sales teams, as well as partners and customers, to make sure they're up to date on where AMD is going, to understand how we position our products, what are our advantages. And so, yeah, today I'm very delighted to be here to speak about the promise of HCI and the progress in this area and how AMD is helping customers achieve the best running on AMD-based hardware. Yeah, Yaniv, the floor is yours.
As you know, guys, I mean, data is at the center of everything when we talk about IT, but more than that, in our life. So it became, very important to take care of your data, and we are fully committed in OVH Cloud to unleash all the capacity for our customers to provide added value to take care of this data, right? Enable usages, workloads, so then we can help them and help their businesses. This is really important. And from a security standpoint, to a functional standpoint, to performance standpoint, data is key. And this is for our customers a center of attention, which is fundamental. Moving forward, when we look at the OVH Cloud and who we are on the next slide, Christine, OVH Cloud is on the top 8 cloud provider worldwide right now. We are the first one in Europe, and we have our vision and our mission. So if we look at it, our mission is open to power your data. So really, it's something which is central in our reflection. We believe in an open cloud. We believe on reversibility, interoperability, and data sovereignty, right? So we believe in a trusted and open cloud. And this is fundamental in the way we design products, architecture solutions, and so on and so forth. We have what we call the smart approach on our product: simple, multi-local, right? Accessible, let's say reliable, and transparent. And this is something which is driving all our R&D and all our interaction with our customers. And our vision is to always be there for the innovation, right? It's innovation for freedom. And this is why we are working together with key partners like AMD for years right now. And we are very happy to co-build because we believe in the ecosystem. And so we are co-building together the best solution ever for our customers. So here today, one of our key partners, AMD.
Yeah, and I would add that there is a lot of synergy between the two companies. We are very delighted to work together with the OVH Cloud to make sure that you have the newest hardware to use, to deploy. And it's not just started out yesterday. There are still Opteron-based servers, our previous generation of hardware, still operational and getting decommissioned. And so what we want to do together with the OVH Cloud, we really look at what kind of setups, what kind of server setups are going to be sufficient for today's and tomorrow workloads. And the choice of AMD is obviously having a lot of reasons behind. Ever since we re-entered the server segment back in 2017 with our EPYC processors, we see more and more interest coming from the data center operators, from high performance computing customers, from cloud providers like OVH, because when you look at what our server platform provides, it's a combination of compute density, combination of very high memory and I/O throughput. And so what we are effectively able to do is provide more compute power in dense environments to host more users, or to actually decrease the time to result. And so as a matter of fact, we are today deployed with 9 out of 10 largest mega data centers, because technical teams can always see what's the best, what's the newest on the market. And obviously, there is a renaissance, if you will, of server technologies because of our re-entry back in 2017. And so the reason we see very quickly, how customers go back to us and start deploying our infrastructure, there are several fundamental reasons for that. First off, we deliver on promise. We have a stable roadmap through the last several years where we say about our next generation processes, and we actually announce them on time. The second one is really about performance, and I would say cloud security, because let's face it, pandemic has changed the way we operate. I work from home for the last year here in Germany, and yeah, you really need to scale up and down your infrastructure quickly. You need to provide a level of stepped up security as well. And so AMD, because it can host more VDI users, for example, just because of the number of cores that we have per platform, which is much higher than the competitor, you can actually start getting your infrastructure reorganized. And then obviously, as you make it more economically viable, you now can actually look into specific workloads to see how much faster it can run on AMD and how much more secure. And so it's a lot to deal with the leadership performance that we provide today. And obviously, you need an underlying platform. You need a scalable platform that allows you to take so many cores that EPYC provides, and make sure that even if there is a new workload or a larger data set tomorrow, you still can see that your platform is really operating at its best through the next, 3-4 years. And so, yeah, these three components, this leadership on all fronts allows us really to become the new data center leader, if you will. And there is a lot of synergy between OVH Cloud and AMD, because both companies pursue the best performance per dollar. It's about value. It's also about, well, on our front, it's about performance per watt as well, because we are leading in this category as well. So I would say it's a natural cooperation today, and we are very excited to talk about HCI and what we can offer together during this webinar.
Yeah, thanks, Alexei. And actually, if I'm step backing a bit on what you just mentioned, price performance ratio, it's something which is as well driving the way we are looking at the product we go to market, because we want to be able to bring the much possible for our customers for the most let's say relevant price point, right, which is key. And so looking at our partnership with R&D and looking at the performance of EPYC, we've been working together for months, I know already years right now, but you know that OVH Cloud is building their own, we are building our own servers. We have 2 factories, one in north of France, the second one is in Canada. And so, and you know that we own our own water cooling technology. So all our servers right now have about 400,000 physical servers deployed worldwide on our 32 data center, 33 right now, maybe 34 from this morning. And in order to bring the best performance ever not degrading the performance. Water cooling is key. And so on a Epic, we had been designing and fine-tuning our water cooling, so then it can really be always at the best performance ever, the best cooling ever, and guarantee performance over time. You were talking about how the server can last for years. So actually, thanks to a good cooling, the CPU, we have a long life, right? And so this core R&D help us to stay consistent over time on performance. And this is really something which is as well important. I think we are really involved let's say in the green field as much as we can for the planet. And so our PUE is 109, which is pretty good. We still need to continue, but I mean it's a right one. And Epic is not degrading that, right? But even though it's extremely power, our core R&D help it. So then when you look at the challenges that you face today right now from on your business standpoint, and then when we are talking with customers, we always have the topic of the infrastructure aging. So every 2-3 years, 4 years, I need to renew my infrastructure. And then you need to invest upfront, its deployment, its lead times, and so on and so forth. It's not something which is simple. When on the cloud area, it's designed to live on a water, let's say, on a life cycling, which is the most relevant for your business, right? So you don't need to take care of that. That's one topic on infrastructure in-house. And when you go there, you have the power, the cooling, the co-location space, your data center space, which can be as well when you go a challenge. Even though on HCI we'll see that just after we can rationalize a lot of things and see what our value proposal. There is topics around reliability, service management, availability when it comes to how can I meet my SLAs, and then so we'll go back to the offerings later on. But I mean, how can we help you bring the best of breed of both worlds and those platforms to value your customers and your business? And as well, it's how can we grow and help you grow? And this is where as well we're always looking at, so something which is delivery anticipation, and so to meet your current requirements, needs, and last but not least, something that is as well central in our let's say reflection with AMD, but reflection with our engineering teams is security, right? We are really involved in the security area. You know that there is the trusted cloud, and then we are deeply investing into bringing the best European platforms to manage data sovereignty. You would heard, and you may have heard already, on the Sectum Cloud and Trusted Cloud, European Trusted Cloud. And this is something that we will keep investing on, because we do believe in data sovereignty and we want to help our customers, and Epic can help at some point, and we'll see that later on, to manage their data whenever they want to be located, and to own, I mean, let the customer own the data, right? So from our data centers in the US, right, it's completely separated from the rest of the world, right? So it's Cloud Act free, and so we're not exposed on all those regulations that you may have heard on the market. This is one of the power of OVH Cloud. And you know, I think all the challenges, you may have faced others, but if you have any question on those, and if there's other things that may pop up from your experience, feel free to share that with us guys. On the next slide, yeah, Alexa?
I would just add, yeah, let's just make it interactive. Our perspective is that, again, we really see new desire from well, I'll be talking about the EMEA customers, European customers. We see more and more of them looking at their computational models, where to place data, where to place capacity. Is it on-prem? Is it safe to actually move servers to providers like OVH Cloud, right? And so what we see actually is, look, there is edge and remote and branch offices, right? There is classic on-prem. now we have a slew of different kind of cloud options. And so HCI is interesting in this regard because this building block is, it really allows you to be placed, you know, you can deploy it where your remote office is. You can deploy it in your data center, or you can deploy it actually using bare metal from OVH Cloud. And so it's a very interesting building block that really allows you to start planning your infrastructure in a smarter way. And we'll talk about it actually now. If you look at traditional infrastructure, you see silos of different hardware. You know, there were times, I don't know, 30 years ago when there was just a computer, right? And it was everything in. And then we started disaggregating it. So there was a storage component. And you all probably remember how storage area networks and block storage and, you know, this increased capacity and throughput and IOPS. Everybody was happy. A slew of new interfaces came in, and initially it was like, wow, now we can disaggregate it. Here's your compute, here's your storage. But the problem fundamentally was that as this infrastructure became more complex, it's difficult to plug it in together, right? You need to work your IT teams, if you are a larger customer, would require, you know, a lot of pre-validation. You need to see how all these multiple consoles would work with each other. You would need to hire different admins with different, you know, specialization. And so we started seeing a lot of silos with our customers. It's really something which has a very high tax when you just have servers, your storage, your networks, right? And so with hyper-converged, it's really changing. And I would let Yaniv to talk about it before I add my comments.
Yeah. Man, I used to, when I see this picture, right, I remember my old days configuring fiber channel switch, and then configuring my LAN on the storage array, and then having my compute nodes that need to scale, and then manage my network, and then definitely, right, traditional infrastructure still existing, right? So legacy is not bad, right? It's not bad, just it doesn't scale. And then it's costly at some point. So small, let's say, small companies, it will depend your challenges, but long story short, from a cost standpoint, the TCO of hyperconverged infrastructure is the best ever. It's there is no debate. Why? Because as Alexei was mentioning, operation cost. We look at investment, right? CapEx, cost of acquiring the infrastructure. It's a cost, but operating that, it's sometimes not mentioned, but it's even worse. So when you look at the number of components that you may have on all the traditional infrastructure, you need to maintain firmware, the software, and ecosystem of software on top of the ecosystem of hardware, which is exponential. And then hyperconvergence come and treat this topic, right? To have everything in a box. So you have your storage, your compute, your network capacity, your memory capacity, right? Because as well, it's key. Memory is key, right? And everything in a box. And then after that, it's all about single point of contact, and then you can just scale your nodes. And then if you go even further, you can get even scale your nodes individually, right? I want to move from one configuration of this node to a higher one, and then I can add nodes on top of that that are consistent, homogeneous. HCI.
Let me just take over, and then hopefully he rejoins us. So hyperconverged is really about bringing storage and compute back to the same server. You have fast storage subsystem, scalable with lots of IOPS. So you'll see from Yaniv hopefully about the flash configurations that OVH Cloud is offering. And so what you do is a small building block, which is your server. It's a bit more difficult to talk about software-defined networks, but software-defined storage is quite easy, right? We already can have it today. If you look at what IDC is saying, that they estimate there were about $7 billion in sales of HCI hardware last year, and it's growing more than 8% year on year. So what it really allows you to do is take in a server, clustering it, right? So you can add more or decrease, and you can start from as low as 2 or 3 nodes, depending on your hypervisor. AMD is actually working with most of commercial, like proprietary and open source hypervisors today. And so it's quite easy. You just take an x86 box that's really compatible with your software, right? And you just deploy depending on how much users you have, what kind of data sets you have to run. You start adding this service. So we're talking about the same kind of compute cluster concept like it was before. But the difference is that a lot of it is running in software-defined mode, and your workload is distributed, right? And so that really can eliminate the need for a lot of expertise if you have some specific hardware which is standalone, right? That makes your dashboard just one. And really, this increased flexibility is what we see happening today. We see a lot of our sales, our service sales, actually going into this HCI methodology. Yaniv, are you there?
Yeah, sorry guys, I don't know. Sounds like I'd been dropped. So I
Yeah, something
apologize.
happened.
So
Let me
yeah,
just go back and see if you want to add anything here.
no, I think you said it all. I did follow up what you just mentioned earlier, and then what I've been sharing. So yeah, HCI, as you mentioned, you consume homogeneous building blocks and you consolidate. You consolidate in two ways: IT ones and operational ones. So really, you win on the let's say on both dashboards. You really win on the TCO of acquiring infrastructure and scale as you grow, and you win as well on the cost of operating this infrastructure because you rationalize, right? And so you were just mentioning one console. Obviously, maybe you want two, but it would depend on what you want to run as workload, right? You can run maybe later on.
Well, let's see. You just let us know when you're back. But yeah, I guess I have to take over. So yeah, there could be a few dashboards for sure, but the net result is that the complexity is really going down. And hyper-converged infrastructure is not really a workload. It's the underlying methodology of how you deploy your infrastructure, your servers, your networking. And so it really allows you to increase your efficiency, to make it more scalable and make it more secure on AMD, because AMD has this interesting way of isolating virtual machines when you cryptographically just separate them from each other and from the hypervisor. And so that's what's unique about us. And given that we have this amazing 64 cores per socket, so it's up to 128 cores per socket if you look at the OVH per server, excuse me, if you look at the OVH offerings. You can host a lot of VMs, or you can deploy larger VMs that are hosted on several cores each. And so the speed is amazing because there's a very good combination of frequency, right, and as well per thread performance. So that's giving you and compute, and that's giving you the net result. Why actually mega data centers use AMD more and more today, because in order to arrive at the lower server price points, OVH Cloud, they have to look at their economics, how much they can put in one rack, how much power they would actually need to cool it down. And so we very often see with mega data centers that we can proliferate the existing data centers because our hardware is so much more dense from a computational standpoint, and there is a lot of throughput. And so that's what really helps us drive in efficiency, scalability, and things like security. Yaniv?
Yeah. Sorry again, but you said it all right. I think this slide is summarizing properly the main pillars of HCI, right? Efficiency, you can scale easily and silently, and then you manage and you optimize your operations.
Yeah.
I think I will comment on the, even though we went even further on this in this HCI experience in the cloud, that I will comment on that when we will comment the offerings in 2 slides.
So let me just talk a bit more about our value proposition, what APIC CPU, what the socket based on AMD technology today can give you. So you can see on this photo of our CPU deleted that it's not one large chip. There is one central chip, which is a large one. It's essentially the entire chipset. So there is no chipset outside. So it's very efficient from latency perspective because everything is under the hood. And then there are, chiplets, up to 8 chiplets. And that's how we arrive at 64 cores, because in order to have this high computational density, you need to disaggregate your silicon so it consumes less power. It's easier to produce because the larger your silicon, the harder it is to produce. So to ensure, for instance, that all 64 cores would be working on one piece of silicon is a daunting task. And so when we disaggregate like this, we control our operational costs better, we can manufacture more on time, right? And we can, it's a Lego block. You can start doing a very different kind of offerings ranging from 8 to 64 cores. And today, if you look at the mid-market, people are buying mid-core counts. So say 24 cores, 32 cores, and we, the lower the core count with us, the higher the frequency is, obviously. And so that's why you would see with OVH Cloud that they are offering this middle of the stack offerings quite a bit, because that's where you have still a lot of cores and very good latency, very good frequency. So your response when you are sitting remotely working with data is quite fast and appealing. And the secret sauce for it is our fabric. What keeps all these smaller chiplets together, how they talk to each other. So it's called Infinity Fabric. And yeah, that's the secret sauce that allows us to scale, to provide such a great compute density, very low heat output, in relation to how many cores we offer. And so overall, it is an amazing technology, and we see the world moving to this disaggregated logic on a chiplet, on a CPU level, if you will. And so, it doesn't matter how many records we have, it's still growing. It's more than 200 today. It's really about how you see workloads, what kind of workloads are working, taking benefit of running on AMD infrastructure. And so it's really amazing to see that both from integer and floating point performance, APIC is second to none. And so your business critical applications, if you run it on HCI, right? We use HCI to run your fundamental workloads. It's business critical, like databases, like data analytics, like Exchange, like SharePoint, which is more and more important today because everybody is so distributed regionally and not in the same office, right? It's stuff like HPC. We see some customers actually running HPC if even under HCI, because you simply can. If your interface, if your fabric that connects all nodes together is fast, you can do that as well. Quite a bit is happening on virtualization and containers and cloud. So if you look, it's both performance tier, both for enterprise applications or compute, pure compute like high performance computing, and it's also about performance per watt. So if you look at that, and there is a benchmark called, it's industry standard Spec Power 2008, I mean, you'll be blown away what AMD is able to do in terms of performance per watt. So the power consumption by these systems is exceptional, okay? And the other thing that really is important, and I guess that's one of the key differentiators that is also probably a good investment going forward for you if you decide to start using bare metal servers from OVH Cloud based on APIC, it's our security stack. So you probably know that we also supply custom silicon, custom chips to Sony and Microsoft Xbox, right? Sony PlayStation, Microsoft Xbox. And so we work with them back in like 2010s. where we wanted to make sure that they have better security, that nobody can tamper with their stack to play for free. And so we started out early. We wanted to make sure that we have one central approach to tackle a lot of security issues that we see today. All these side channel attacks, all these meltdown and Spectre attacks that really compromise your system. And so what we've done, we took a secure processor, which is an ARM processor. So imagine it's an x86 server, but inside this CPU, this central large chip, there is an ARM processor, 32-bit, which actually has its own cache table, where it actually generates, using a high quality random generator, it generates keys, 128-bit strong keys, and it stores it. It's unique, it's self-contained in the CPU, there is no way to access it. And what it does with these keys is primarily two things. So first one, you can encrypt your entire DRAM memory. So if, for example, you need a better level of trust in your hardware, and let's say it's a hypothetical scenario, but you decide to entrust OVH Cloud, to run and operate your server that you rent. And so what effectively can be done if you switch on in the BIOS this option, is called memory encryption, system memory encryption, secure memory encryption, excuse me. What it does, it uses one single key to protect and hash data in all these DIMMs. The entire memory region is going to be protected. So if there is a rogue admin, which I don't believe, but I mean, let's talk hypothetically, takes a DIMM and brings it to the other server and tries to read it on the usual server and legacy server, you can do that. You will just dump all your memory, you can freeze the DIMM with inert gas, and you will have up to 5-6 hours to do it. The same for Edge, it's very important, right? But it's not where it stops. It's not only physical memory protection. There are over 500 additional keys to encrypt VMs, as well as, in some cases, containers. And so what it effectively does, you can't read into context of virtual machine. And the newer generations of EPIC processors actually also prohibit hypervisor from having any admin rights to read into memory context of individual virtual machines. If one of VMs is compromised, you still would have a very hard time launching an attack on adjacent servers. This is if you have a shared server, which probably not the case for today's discussion, but still it's very important. And it's unique. This workload encapsulation, this secure virtualization is unique to AMD. It's only available on EPIC-based servers today. And the best thing about it all, you don't need to change your applications at all. It's really about just choosing the right hypervisor, which is aware of AMD technology. And there is the stuff like OpenStack stuff, like KVM-based Linux operating systems. They all understand it, and so you can choose it a la carte when you start configuring your server from OVH, all right? So that's very important. And security, we are joking inside AMD that security is the new performance these days, because a lot of customers, we see European customers moving to remote data center, this hoster or cloud-based deployments more and more, because they are pushed by the pandemic, and security became a very important argument, because yes, let's face it, a lot of local national regulations, GDPR laws, right, sovereignty, it all plays in that pool. It's really what makes a lot of customers interested in our hardware. And even if it's not there today, I mean, you buy this server, you rent it, and you can enable it at your own pace later on. And I'm sure OVH will work on some interesting offerings in this space.
And yeah, last word on this slide, because I think it's as well, security is fundamental. And then I love when we talk about data protection and taking a bit of context of data protection, right? Data protection at rest when you cipher data on the storage, right? On disk, right? On your hardware, right? It's material. And you have data protection in transport, on transit, right? When the tunnel, you cipher it, right? SSL, TLS, and so on. I mean, I guess that everybody know, but the new stuff, right, coming over for a couple of years right now, 3 or 4, is confidential computing. and then it's when you protect data in use. And this is where there is a new paradigm enforcing security, logical security for businesses, right? For your workload, and that you can leverage on thanks to SEV, SME, that was just TSME, that was just highlighted. And then moving forward, in OVH Cloud, we are working on confidential computing for 2.5 years, probably a bit more, and we will keep investing a lot in confidential computing. So stay tuned, and you will see more and more integration on your ability to interact with those features that are exposed in the BIOS at some point. But we will do as much as we can to have a seamless and a smooth experience of through APIs, so then you can interact with your with low-level firmware informations through the APIs, right? So then you really have a smooth experience if you want to enable computational computing towards Epic. All right, so maybe let's transition quickly on what the look and feel of the product line embracing HCI powered by Epic. As you can see here, we have 3 main flavors. They are all dual sockets, and you will tell me, but Yaniv, no, it's what you're going to tell me, right, Alexei, right? Why dual sockets, right? Because we will be able to do a single socket. Things Epic is extremely power, and then have many PCI lanes that can feel much more that you even need. True, we could have done a single socket 30, 48, or 64. But we decided here on this specific product line, HCI, there is another product line with the Epic as well on software-defined storage with a single socket, as you can find out. But we did decide to do the dual sockets for performance from our benchmark, right? We wanted to make sure we guarantee the best performance ever at the full usage of the platform, right? Here we speak about, so let's go to the platform, right? From a memory standpoint, you can, let's say, configure and optimize your platform store options. So okay, so you it's really here, you're free to choose which platform and which setup you want to have from a memory standpoint. From an operating system, we did dedicate it to disks, so then you don't need to worry of where do I need to install my operating system. We used to have it's coming from you guys, from customers. There was usually we were not at some point always dedicating specific disks, so then you can install your operating system. And here we wanted to free up really the full 24 disks of the chassis for your data. So you have 2 dedicated disks to install your operating system in RAID 1, secure, and then you can focus on growing on your data. And the way those data disks are being consumed is as you grow. So each platform, you can start at 6 disks, then you can move to 12 disks, then 24 disks. The main point as well here is that for AMD platforms, all the platforms are full NVMe. So no compromise in performance and storage, right? So you won't find AMD with SSD SAS, AMD with some platforms for HCI with HDD. It's full NVMe, is dual sockets, specific disks for your operating system. You can configure your memory as you want. And as well, what is important is that you can configure that in the lifecycle, right? You can start with 3 flavors. So it's HCI in HCI, right? Inception HCI. So you can start with a platform with 3 nodes, 6 disks, and then you want to grow those 3 nodes into 12 disks, you can. You will find those configuration and option in our manager. Same topic with the memory. So we'll be able to manage the lifecycle as you grow memory and disks. And then if you want more nodes, you add more nodes. So really here you have a multiple dimension of how your HCI platform will be able to grow with your business, to fit and be adjusting your TCO as you grow, right? That's something which is really new here as well. Redundant PSU, obviously, right? So you have 2 powers coming to the box. All the drives are hot swap, right? So then you can manage your maintenance And obviously, right, if you access this during your running, obviously it needs to be hot strapped, so that's key. And one strong innovation that we have been working for right now 1.5 years, which we just went to market to power and enable those specific use cases like HCI, software-defined storage, AI, machine learning, VDI. It's a new 100 gig network. So those boxes will be powered by a strong capacity east-west traffic network, really to enable all the workload you need to run, databases, big data, uh, clusters, and so on and so forth, right? So this is key. And so it's coming not only with a 100 gig network underneath, but 4 interfaces. So you can have 2. So the way the server is going to be delivered, right? Okay, you go choose your servers, get delivered, you receive the servers on the manager, and then you found 2 bound, right? 1 public bound and 1 private bound. So 2 interfaces on each bounding, right, for the operating system expert. Teaming for the Windows people who likes the Windows. I'm okay with that, no problem. And then this is cross-connected to both switches, right, which is fully redundant on the TORs, right, on the racks, and then on 2 different kind of network cards on the servers, right? So it's meshed right now. And on top of that, we keep proposing for free features that we had been introducing into the market 2 years ago called OLA, OVH link aggregation, which permits you to manage your interfaces and bond them. And we give you the opportunity and the ability to bond them all in the private network that we call VRAC, which means that you can put your 4 interfaces into 1 big bound in the private network and isolate that completely from the public network. Then you can build strong and protected isolated clusters in your own private network, and you can go up to 50 gig guarantee per box. Okay, I'm saying guarantee because it's important. We always go into the scenario that right, half of the paths will fail, right? That's why we can commit that 50 gig is guaranteed on the platform. So you can see here from CPU to disks to cooling to power to network, it's really the state of the art of what we can bring from both worlds and from an infrastructure standpoint. And inside, we intend to be flexible so you can really parameter, configure your platform as you grow.
Actually, let me add quickly, you mentioned VDI, and that's something I forgot to really take a stab at. So we see a lot of customers deploying VDI workers today, and really the setup they normally choose, if we talk Epic, is really dual socket, even if our single socket servers are second to none and they have no compromises on the IO, but yeah, it's dual socket. And it really makes sense when I look at the choice of CPUs you have here. So, from a licensing perspective, if you have software, expensive licensing, it makes sense to move to, 2x16 cores rather than just using 2x32. Also, see the frequencies tend to be high with the lower core count, so your latency is better, your response is better, and last but not least, yeah, remember that all this, network bandwidth, all this storage that you can hook up, it's really because AMD provides with each and every Epic 128 PCI Express lanes, and when you put the 2 together, half of the lanes talk to each other between the CPUs, but the rest 64 and the other 64 lanes go to the outside, to the IO, right? And so that's how you are able to add these NVMe drives, and they would not be oversubscribed because you have the ability to hook up to 24 lanes, the 24 drives, 4 lanes each. That's how Epic allows you to scale. It's not only the compute, but really the bandwidth that we provide with the entire platform. Same with network. So that's why a lot of high-performance computing data centers actually deploy, because they see that their fabric to connect huge amount of servers together to one machine to compute on, different jobs. we can scale. There is a bandwidth to play with.
So looking at your HCI and the way we intend to help you consuming and grow, right? So keep in mind the first approach of HCI and added value of why HCI even exists, right? It's to optimize really your total cost of ownership, right? And so we discussed a bit on this topic earlier during the presentation, but this is really the first point of moving forward to HCI, right? You optimize your TCO. The way we want to do that with the in OVH Cloud together with AMD is to offload the delivery of this logistic of provisioning, let's say infrastructure, right, to scale your business. So in our footprint worldwide right now, so those flavors are available right in Europe, in the US, and we will keep enabling those flavors worldwide. So we just went to market together, and you can find out a couple of data center in France, in UK, in Germany, but Poland will come, other DC in France will come, and we'll keep enabling and offering those HCI flavors worldwide. So that really this is important. Can you come back to the previous slide, please?
Yeah, sure.
Or if not, that's the deployment as well needs to be seamless. So as much as we can, the goal is for you to consume that through APIs and then go in a digital way or interface with our partners. So then they can manage the logistic for you guys. Being flexible, we talk about that, right? And then the way to manage your infrastructure need to be the easiest possible. So in all this experience, HCI is not just about money, but as well, it's about helping you focusing on your business. And so let the IT complexity out and focus on added value. Really here, this is how we can help you together with AMD to provide the best of breed of the IT component on the market to serve our businesses.
Hey, by the way, Yaniv, just a quick question from my side, I guess. How do you, for example, what's the experience of ordinary customer? The customer buys a bare metal server. What's next? Is there a choice of a la carte, options, software options?
Yeah, definitely. You're right. So the way it's proposed right now. So you go on the website, for example, you choose the servers you want to configure it the way you want, right? I want 6, I want this RAM, and so on and so forth, right? Obviously to the cart, you pay, you want a Windows license, and the final channel, you choose the license of the software you potentially want to install on it. If by any means you want to purchase a specific license, and then you order it, you get delivered, you receive your servers, your credentials, you go through the manager, right, a control panel, and then you find your servers. When you connect with your credentials, you find your servers, and then on your servers you click, and then you have a specific interface that will tell you, hey, look, here is the servers you bought, here is the performance, here is the disk, here is the CPU, your memory, and so on. And there is your operating system disk, right? Nothing is installed on it. What do you want to do? So either you are like me, a geek, and then you prefer to talk to API to Linux, and then you don't want to talk to GUI. So you have the API endpoints on which you have, you can go on api.ovh, and then you will find all the endpoints that you can interact with, and then you can build your scripts, your M, then manage your provisioning the way you want, or you can go to GUI and then actually click, and here you will find different kind. So the way we do that in OVH Cloud, we have different things, right? We can prepackage some images, Linux, Windows, SQL Server, and so on and so forth, right? Bundles with some control panel that are from the market, very well known, and so on. And you can choose the pre-installed images, 3-click, and then it's installing the image, right? Let's say you want a Debian 10, a Ubuntu, a CentOS, Windows Server, and so on. You click, it's running, installing, 10 minutes after or 15 minutes after, depending the platforms, sometimes 6, 5, whatever. It's installing the operating system, and you receive credentials with, hey, your temporary credentials are just right there. Go and connect. So this is from the prepackaged images. But 1 year ago, we did propose as well to our customers a specific API called Bring Your Own Image. So you can, if you want, right? You have an image in-house, right? You have the way you manage your operating system, your images, your bundle, and then you can leverage on this API actually to interact with the server's infrastructure as code, and then leverage on this to install your image on the server. So pretty flexible here, and then you will find out. Will depend. Some customers, they install if they want virtualization, you will have Proxmox, Xen servers, and so on and so forth, right? Virtuoso, OpenStack, really a vast type of distribution, but others will scale with Linux nodes, and then on top of it, they will have their own application and business applications, right? They will have firms of VDI servers running Windows. Really, it's pretty heterogeneous because workload that HCIs really enable a wide area of usages. So you cannot stick, one usage to HCI. I think it's really, multiple type of tools for an IT company. It really can, and that's one of the power of HCI, right? You cannot just stick HCI to virtualization or just stick HCI to big data, because actually with one single type of SKU, you can handle all the usages and the workload that you can find in your company. And this is the beauty for IT administrator. They have one flavor, and they can accommodate their banking workload, their IT workload, their VDI workload, and so on. So it's just the beauty of HCI, and really hip. I think system administrator like to manage one type of node.
Yeah, it's like a virtualization 2.0, if you will, where
Exactly.
you really consolidate all hardware. I would skip this slide, and I guess that's the last one. So let me just take it over from you to say, look, as you start adding bare metal servers and configure them, it's really up to you to, add capacity at your own pace. That's the beauty of it. And again, this distributed world of software, where we really take several nodes and scatter the data, all data sets, and make it redundant, and ensuring failover just across this number of nodes. It really makes it, very appealing. Many times, very often it's just cheaper, even just right from the scratch, not even we're looking at the TCO deployments. And last but not least, it's an open ecosystem that OVH Cloud is offering. It doesn't lock you in. It's x86. It works with your data sets today. And yeah, there is a very good security that is not only assured in terms of the data in transit or data being stored, but also data in use, data in CPU registers, data in system memory, right? Yeah. Yaniv, anything else that I missed?
No, I think we did cover it all, right? Optimizing your life at all points, right? From a banking side to operational, and then really enable your business to let you focus on the main important things of your business, right? So HCI is now available. Those flavors are pretty cool. So definitely glad to have some discussion and analysis if by any means there is some specific solution that you guys run at your company level, and then if you want to have more deep dive discussions on how can I don't know, lift and shift, replatform things to get benefit out of those new SKUs. Definitely here to help together with Alexei.
We have just 3 minutes to the top of the hour, and there is a question. Christine, do you want to voice it?
Yeah, we have one question of the API v6. Is it API v6 routed on the OLA link VRAC planned? So I guess we can, we can give it.
Yeah, that's a good question. So at the moment, we are gathering all those type of requests from customers. Not all the customers are looking at right now at IPv6, but definitely this is something that we are working at. So we're actually gathering all those type of requests because this new network is introducing a new paradigm of consuming it in terms of IPv4, IPv6 stack. And so I cannot tell you when it will be the case, but definitely working on this topic. So maybe I don't know, how can I maybe get your name and then afterwards reel back to you with concrete informations on the ETAs, and so then I will give you visibility on this. And as well, I had some discussion with other customers, and we are preparing technical documentations on the new, let's say, paradigm and options that you do have on this new network as far as configuration are concerned. Because you're right, things as well changed a bit in the previous 10 gig network that we used to expose, and this new one. So 2 answers: documentation will come to explain you, and we'll gather all those questions into documentations with the solutions, so you are not blocked. And then for the native functionality, feel free to reach out to me, and I will come back to you with a proper ETAs. All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for attending this webinar today. I hope it has been useful for your business, and I hope you enjoyed this time as we did. Actually, I did enjoy. So thanks you guys. Thanks, Alexei.
Thank you, and thank you for your time. Thank you for being here with us today. Have a good one. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.